So today we will talk about Iris Midgar and how she will join Shadow Garden eventually. So Iris Midgar is the strongest person in Midgar Kingdom. At least that what the public knows, and that's what she knows. She's the first princess of Midgar, and she is also a genius swordsman. She developed a new sword technique called the New Bushin style, and sometimes she even teaches the way of the sword itself. And in one of her dialogues, she even tried to teach Sid the way of the sword. Well, we all know what really happened there. Instead, Shadow did his thing and yeah, beat the smack out of Iris. Yeah. So a lot of people actually hate Iris mainly because of the anime when it went mainstream, because on how she was against Shadow, how her had shallow thinking, how her mind is so shallow or can't accept the reality that someone's stronger than her, and something like that. But there is also another reason why people hate Iris. In the volume 5 of the light novel, in an incident in a school where she and Alexia met, she mentioned that the cult of Diablos does not exist. And she even threatened Alexia if she kept on saying that the Shadow Garden is not that bad and that the cult of Diablos is real, she will fight Alexia or beat the shit out of her. That's basically what she said. And after those lines, a lot of people actually started to hate her. And that's the other reason why people hate Iris, because oh no, she's so dumb. Didn't she know already the existence of the cult of Diablos ever since the volume 1 and stuff like that? And if you read the manga, you should be able to see that Iris is aware of the cult of Diablos polluting the Midgard kingdom for a while now. However, she's unable to do something about them because the roots is so deep. So she cannot do anything to them. And that is the reason why she decided to create her own night order. And that's the reason why she created a new order, to help her to find someone that is like loyal to her and loyal to the kingdom, and not someone that is part of the cult of Diablos. So why did she mention in the volume 5 that the cult of Diablos is not real and the real bad person or the real bad organization is the Shadow Garden? Well, the answer to that is all revealed in the volume 6 of the light novel. So once you read the volume 6 of the light novel, you will know that the king of Midgard Kingdom is well aware of the existence of the cult of Diablos, and I really think like majority of all of the kings knows about the entity cult of Diablos. However, he is doing a blind's eye on their action, whether it's good or bad. Well, we all know it's mostly bad stuff, because if he did that, the cult of Diablos will not do anything crazy to the Midgard kingdom, or probably the royalty itself. So yeah, and that's like a revelation. So why did the king of Midgar said this? It is because the times have changed. Before the arrival of Shadow Garden, the cult of Diablos influence that they have in the Midgard Kingdom is solid. However, because of the Shadow Garden's activities, it's starting to grow weak, which is why the king mentioned this to Iris and eventually to Alexia. So how does this relate to Iris joining the Shadow Garden? So we were going to use instances where we will see the fate of individuals who decided to join the cult of Diablos. So the first one that we've seen is the Viscount Olba. Viscount Olba is not really a bad person initially. However, he need to do the bidding of the cult of Diablos in order for them to save his kid, which is Milia, because Milia contracted the possession. And what is the result of this? Eventually, he got like no control on the things that he can do. It's all been decided by the cult of Diablos. So in the eyes of the public, he is a very bad guy, because he's doing the kidnap, and especially the kidnapping of Claire, and probably did a lot of atrocities before that. And in the end, Olba did not betray the cult of Diablos, because yeah, they got like a hostage, which is his kid, and using everything in his arsenal just to fight off Shadow Garden, you know, like drinking the pills, which caused him to transform to like a muscular monster or something. So yeah, so that is his fate. He ended up dying on Sid's hand or Shadow's hand. So the next one that we have will be Getten. Getten is the main antagonist in the second arc in season 2. It's the one during the money counterfeit arc. So Getten, based on the past of Yukame, Getten is a very kind guy, and they're supposed to be in love with each other. However, since they are demi-humans or Therianthropes, the clan in the land of Therianthropes often are involved in power struggles, and eventually it got worse when their leader or the king of the Therianthropes, Shiva, died. This caused a lot of tribes to be in constant wars. And to prevent getting killed or absorbed by other clan, the clan of Yukame and Getten decided to merge or to join forces. Hence the reason why Yukame and Getten get close to each other. But then one day, we can see Getten killing all of Yukame's brethren and seemingly in a state of rampage or being unable to control himself, and even sees Yukame as a person that he needs to kill. So what happened to Getten? We can only think that Getten is an individual that has been approached by a member of the cult of Diablos and mentioned or offered them help in the form of eating the drugs that was presented to him. However, a lot of people are actually against with this thing because again, we don't know what's the exact conditions for receiving the help from the cult of Diablos. But based on this conversation alone, we can theorize that this guy might have been brainwashed by the cult of Diablos. And fast forward in the future, where Sid or John Smith at this time is beating Getten, he get to say this word that Yukame is the most precious person or the most precious thing for him. So yeah, are you seeing like the trend that's currently happening, that all of them are not bad, but upon joining the cult of Diablos, they are turning to become like the bad person. And let's add in like one more. So in the latter part of the story of the Eminence and Shadow, during the time where Claire and Alexia is looking for clues or information about the cult, a librarian decided to confront them, and this librarian is actually a cult member, and they fought him and almost lost, but was saved by Shadow. However, he is pretty strong. Before he passed away, he mentioned his past, and he was once a renowned individual in Midgar, and he once tried to bring justice because there are some incidents that is not being pursued. Mainly those incidents are the doings of the cult of Diablos. So when he did his investigation, eventually he was met with a stronger enemy. And this stronger enemy is in fact one of the round member, Fenrir. Even though he is one of the strongest person in Midgar, he got defeated by Fenrir easily, losing both of his arms. What actually happened next is they actually cajoled him to join the cult of Diablos, and even attaching his arms again and giving him a new type of power. This can be interpreted as like the new way of conjuring their magic power, and also new way of using the sword or sword skills. And that's like the other third trend that we're seeing. This is what I want you to realize, that there's a pattern that's happening to all of the individuals who join the cult of Diablos. Over time, they will have like no choice but to do the cult of Diablos bidding, even at the cost of their life, which might happen to Iris as well in the future. And I do believe that her end might be with Shadow or with member of the Shadow Garden. So why did Iris join the cult of Diablos in the first place? As I mentioned earlier, the king mentioned that the cult of Diablos has this tight grip in the Midgard kingdom, and their roots is so deep. However, it all changed when the Shadow Garden arrived and weakened the influence of the cult of Diablos. So the king mentioned that it's your choice who will you side with, whether it's the Shadow Garden or the cult of Diablos. So in this case, since we all know that Iris knows that the cult of Diablos exists and they're doing like a lot of bad things. Garden, on the other hand, on her perspective, they're doing bad things as well, or they're like criminals that she needs to put in justice. So why did she choose the cult of Diablos over the Shadow Garden? We can only think that the Shadow Garden is an entity that cannot be approached easily, and Iris really have like a bad impression of them. First, getting humiliated by Alpha and getting stomped on by Sid or Shadow easily. So that's what I think. And the second is that the cult might have approached Iris and gave her some enticing offer. Most likely this is probably a new type of sword skills, and as well the way of conjuring magic, and as a plus, the drugs that they are using. Those might be the offer that they gave to Iris upon joining them. However, since they are all bad, why did Iris join them? Based on Iris' personality, I really think that she's thinking that she'll use the cult of Diablos to destroy the Shadow Garden, and after she gain enough power, she will destroy the cult of Diablos itself. And that's what I think, what she is thinking. However, the cult of Diablos is not an entity that cannot be defeated by Iris alone. Even if she powered up, chances are she will be defeated by any high-ranking member of the cult or the rounds or the Knight of Rounds. So while doing the bidding of the cult of Diablos, and she will eventually meet her end with while fighting Shadow Garden. She might be one of those guinea pigs, or she might overdose herself with the new drugs that the cult is using, where she might transform to Milia, like the one that we saw in the first season of the anime, a giant monster. What will happen next, I think, is that she will get defeated easily, and since those type of berserk state is kinda similar to magic overload, there's a chance that Sid can heal Iris if she ever went to that state, and thus receiving Shadow's magic. And I think that is how she will join Shadow Garden. I really think what will happen eventually is that she will hate it. However, she will know the insignificance of her existence, that she will just simply follow them. And right now, you might ask, what about Alexia? Isn't she someone that kind of putting the Shadow Garden in a good light? So won't she join the Shadow Garden? So there's a chance that Alexia will not join the Shadow Garden, mainly because Sid likes to put Alexia into the setting of the main characters. So this might be one of his play that might happen in the future volume of the light novels. So that's my cup of tea with how Iris will join the Shadow Garden. And yeah, I hope you like it, and bye bye.